Good morning, world. I am Judy, your web-based therapist, making therapy accessible and convenient for our clients in Florida and New York, and of course, sharing information worldwide. Today, I wanted to talk about 5 easy ways to help reduce anxiety during a pandemic, because as you know, in the last few weeks, that's been the topic of conversation just about everywhere you go. Most people are talking about this pandemic. So with the more noise, the more talk, the more buzz there is about it, the higher the anxiety level, because it's creating a great deal of chaos, especially considering how much is still unknown. So first thing you can do is follow instructions and protocols, because when you do what you are being asked, when you are following these instructions, when you are following protocols, not only are you helping reduce the spread, it also helps you feel like you are doing something. It makes you feel like you are taking a stand, you are taking a step to help end the situation. And it also gives you a feeling, it makes you feel a greater sense of control. It makes you feel like, hey, I am doing something that is going to help keep me healthy, that is going to help keep me safe. It gives you a greater sense, it makes you feel a little more empowered. It gives you a greater sense of control because, you're doing something. You're actively engaged in doing something. So follow instructions. Find the reliable sources in your community. Things like World Health Organization, National Institute for Health. Those are, I would say, some of the more reliable sources. So find what their instructions are. Find what protocols they're asking the community to follow, and follow those things because, it makes you feel like you're in charge of something. 2, practice social distancing and not social isolation. Social distancing is currently one of the biggest things that is being asked of the community. One of the biggest things the community is asked to do right now is to practice social distancing. Just because you are distancing, which means staying out of crowds, staying away from big groups, not doing things like going to crowded bars and restaurants, and actually I think a lot of them are starting to close now, does not mean you need to completely isolate. You still need to stay engaged in your life. You still need to stay engaged, stay in conversation, stay in communication with the people in your life. Isolation is a breeding ground for a lot more other issues that you don't want to deal with. And the other thing is, when you isolate, you're sitting there by yourself consuming all this information. It creates a perfect little space for you to start thinking about all the ways that this thing can go left. But if you're busy, engaged, and actively engaged in life with other people, you have less time to think about all those things. So focus on distancing, not isolating. Talk to people in your life, talk to the people in your house, talk to other people in your community, talk to your friends, call somebody, see if that call function on your phone is still, see if it still works. Engaged. 3, limit your news consumption. Right now, just about every news outlet is talking about the same thing. But the thing is, every news outlet is pretty much repeating the same information. So you don't need to sit there all day and listen to and read and watch the same exact information, because the more you are engaging, the more you are consuming it, the more it feels like you're taking in. The bigger, the more monstrous, the worse the whole thing feels, the more anxiety it's going to cause. So get the information, pick your more reliable news sources, that whatever news outlet you trust, whatever news source you trust, go get the information you need, find out what it is that you need to do it, and walk away. You don't need to sit there and watch the same content from 3 or 4 different newscasters or different shows saying the same thing, or watch the repeat of the same show saying the same thing. You don't need to read 37 articles on the same thing. You don't need to. And on social media, I know there are these people who believe that they are the second hand of the news outlets because they are the first one to repost every single thing on this pandemic. You don't have to read every one of them. And if some of your friends on social media are too news happy, mute them for a little bit, because you don't need this. You don't need to be bombarded with this, because the more you take it in, the bigger it feels, the more anxiety it can cause, the worse it can feel. So get the information you need, walk away, come back the next day, get more information, walk away, because the information there's not something coming up every 5 minutes. So if you can take some breaks. 4, find ways to bring some normalcy to your life. A lot of things have changed. Pretty much many of our communities are pretty much completely different and chaos right now. Work is canceled, school is canceled, a lot of the stuff that we normally would do are canceled. But find ways to make life as normal as possible. If you maybe you're not going to school, but instead of going to school, find some information, go online, take some courses, learn a new skill, read up on something that you've wanted to know about. Create a schedule, create a plan to give your life or give your day a little bit more sense. Make your day go as normal as you possibly can, really, but bring some normalcy. Hey, you're home, have family dinners. That's a normal thing. Just do as many normal things as you could possibly do, because it helps you feel like, hey, this pandemic is here, but it's not complete. Life still exists. 5, engage in life-affirming activities. Everywhere you go, someone is talking about how bad this thing is. We need to be constantly reminded about how awesome life still is. Yes, there is this really awful thing that is happening in the world, in our communities, in our backyards. Yes, this really awful thing is happening. However, there is still this great, wonderful life that is happening also, and life that will continue. So take time, engage in some of the life-affirming activities. Do the things you need to do so that to counter all the negativity that you're getting, to counter some of the bad news that you're getting. So take time and engage in life-affirming activities so that, you feel better. All right, quick recap. 1, follow instructions and protocols. Do whatever it is that you're being asked to do to help keep you and your family safe. 2, practice social distancing, but not isolation, because you want to be away from large groups, but you don't want to be completely away from life. 3, limit your news consumption, because the more you take it in, the worse it's going to feel. And 4, find ways to keep normalcy, because a lot has changed. A lot of life is different, but there are some things you can do to keep a little bit of a sense of normal life. And finally, engage in life-affirming activities, because you need to bring some positivity. You need to bring some happy into your life. So take time and do some of these fun things. As always, if you or someone you know happen to be going through something that is more than you can handle, please take some time, reach out and get help, because there are a lot of people out there who are able and willing and available to help you. Even right now that a lot of things are closed, there are people who have distance or remote services that you can reach. Find out who they are in your community. Reach out and get whatever help you can, whatever help you need. And that is all we have for today. Good morning, world. Have an awesome day.